Howdy gang, this is Jerry. Today I am here with a new quad. This is the Eachine E011 block drone, and this was provided to me by banggood.com. Again, a heartfelt thank you to Banggood for supporting average hobbyers with review samples and such. It's nice that ordinary guys can get their hands on some of these toys while they're still new on the market and do some reviews, and not just the professional reviewer types. So thank you very much, Banggood. And so on to this particular little drone. This is the E011 block drone, and here you can see it has a blue and white motif. If I flip the box around, here it is in red and black. And then on the bottom of the box, it has an actual picture of the two different drones with the red and black and blue and white motif. And the one that I have is the blue and white. So let's throw this out here in front of the camera. And so here we have it. This is a Inductrix style clone quad with the nice little hat trick that they've replaced the top plate here with this Lego block style attachment plate, and then it comes with this little minifig. And he originally had a visor for his helmet, and he was carrying a little blue sword. But I've been having a lot of fun with this quad, and I've crashed it quite a number of times, and so those two pieces are lost either under a bed or behind a sofa or in the vacuum cleaner or somewhere. They're gone. But I've been having fun with this. This little guy is a great flyer. It's stable in the air. It carries the weight of the little Lego man nicely. If you want a little bit livelier flying, you can take the little Lego man off, and then it really has a lot of zip. This quad, the motors on this quad are 7/16 size motors, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a little bit larger than most of these Inductrix style clones. A lot of these, I believe, in small indoor flyers, they come with the 6mm motors instead of these 7mm motors. So this guy has a pretty good amount of power. It zips around the room really nice. Again, it can carry the weight of the Lego guy on here. Excuse me. And my kids really like it too. When I'm flying it, they'll go grab their boxes of Legos and they'll build like little cockpits and stuff. And you can't put a huge amount on here, but I had the kids, they put like a bottom plate and a little steering wheel up here in front of them, and they were having fun swapping other Lego minifigs on here. And speaking of which, just as kind of a visual verification, oh great, I dropped the little guy on the floor as I was trying to grab him. I've got another generic spaceman Lego. This is a official real Lego guy, and see, he snaps right on there and he's not coming off. So at least not coming off in flight. You crash him, you know, he's more than likely to head off into the wild blue yonder. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what it looks like as far as size. Let's, oh, wrong end of the scale here. Let's see, this guy is a bit under 50 millimeters from center shaft to center shaft. I think it's actually, let's see, my best guess is I'm gonna put that at about 46, maybe 47 millimeters between the props. And then the prop itself is about a 29, 30 millimeter 4-blade prop. So my scale is dead, so I can't weigh it for you, but it's a nice little quad. It has a molded in basket to carry the battery, rather than, you know, some quads you have to kind of wrap them with rubber bands or some such. The plug for the battery is a MCPX style plug. So I have the battery here. So most of my smaller quads that I've had in the past that use these tiny 1-cell batteries use a micro LOCI style plug. So when I got this particular quad with these MCPX style plugs, I was a bit concerned that I would only have the one battery to play with. But once I started looking at it, if I can get the camera to kind of focus on here, you can see it has the slots in the side of the battery plug. Those slots fit the side tabs on this mini low-C battery. So I can plug this guy in here. You gotta make sure you get it the right direction now, but it plugs in there and it works just fine. Speaking of batteries, let's look at the battery that this machine comes with. This is a 260 milliamp hour 30C 1S LiPo. So at a 30C, that's a decent little battery. 2600 milliamp hours is a reasonably sized battery. This battery I've been averaging, I haven't timed every flight, but the flights that I have timed, I'm averaging about 6 minutes per flight. There was one flight that I got a little over 7 minutes on, that I flew it for the first 3 or 4 minutes with the minifig on. And then I took the minifig off and I flew it for the last couple of minutes. And like I said, I think I got about 7 minutes and 15 seconds or so out of that flight. So pretty reasonably decent flight times out of this stock battery. As an interesting side note, this other battery that I was holding up here a moment ago, this is a battery that I bought off Amazon probably about 2 years ago, that for a Cyma X11 quad that I have, and it is a 380 milliamp hour 380 milliamp hour battery. It actually had a shorter flight time than this 2600 milliamp hour battery. Consistently, I've got a whole handful of these little batteries, and they weigh a little bit more, and they just don't have the punch. You can hear it in the motors, not just feel it in the jump the quad has and how zippy it is, but you can hear it in the motors. The motors don't quite get the RPM that they do with these stock batteries. So if you're looking to buy batteries, I would recommend just going back to Banggood. They have a nice little 5-pack of these batteries here. I've got it called up on my computer. Let me swing the camera over. So they have a 5-pack of these batteries with a charger, with some little adapter lead cables for, that's $16 US. So that's a pretty good little price for some pretty good little batteries. So for an extra $16, the quad itself right now is selling for about 17 bucks. So for about $35, you could have the quad and half a dozen batteries, and that'll keep you flying for quite a while. Moving on to the remote. The remote is this very small gamepad style remote. Mode 2 at the throttle and the rudder are on the left hand. Not many buttons or options or special anything on this. Binding is very simple. You just plug the battery in. The lights will slow blink, or will they fast blink? I think they actually fast blink now that I say that. Let's plug it in and see. So we plug it in. Oh, they do slow blink. And then I'll turn on the remote. There's the fast blink I was remembering. And now it's bound. So that's all it takes to get the guy bound up. No stick up and down, no special buttons to hold. Very simple, basic remote. Okay, and one last thing before we get on to flying is one of the more popular mods for these Inductrix style quads is people want to do what they call a whoop mod, which the whoop mod is basically to FPV it, to first person video, put a little camera on there so you can fly it around first person style. And as luck would have it, several months ago I had purchased this little camera for my RC cars, E011 Eachine camera. And I'm going to open the box on this camera here real quick. It comes with a mounting plate. It comes with a little camera. Come here, get out of there. And then it comes with some screw hardware. A pair of screws to screw the camera to the mounting plate here, which that just mounts on here like this. And there's a bunch of cameras on the market. I'm not saying that this is the best camera out there. As a matter of fact, this camera is actually dead. About 2 or 3 flights into it, after a couple of crashes, something is wrong with my camera, and so my camera doesn't work now. But the reason why I'm bringing this up as a possible mod is you can see the little pin here. If I pull this little side plate out a little bit, the block cover pops off. I have added this piece of electrical tape, and this is the power cord for the camera. The camera has a small plug here on the back for battery power. There's the soldering connection. That connection point is the back side of the battery plug. So just verify that. I believe on here there's, can you see it on there? There's a, if you can see that letter B, there's a B minus and a B plus in there that tells you positive and negative. So one soldering connection, and then the mounting plate looks like it was made for this quad. I'm going to set this little guy on here, and you can see that there's a mounting, unused mounting hole here and here, and then this screw is holding down the main board. And those three screw points, they line up exactly with those three mounting holes on the bracket. So this E011 camera is a bolt-on camera for this Eachine E011 quad. The only non-bolt-on you have to do is the power harness. And again, I'm not flying at FPV right now because after, I think it was the second battery that I did FPV on after a crash, the camera screen just went black. It didn't go to snow, it went to black. So there's something wrong with the camera itself. So I'm not sure what's going on with it there. But that was a very simple, quick, easy mod to do to this little guy to make it FPV if that's what you want to do. And it flies very well with the camera. The camera and the mounting bracket. Again, my scale is dead. I used to have a small digital scale. But if you compare the weight of the little man and the mounting bracket versus the camera and the mounting bracket, they're pretty close to the same. I mean, this is I think, you know, again, I don't have a scale, but just kind of going by feeling it in my hands, it almost feels like the little Lego man might actually weigh just a tiny bit more than the camera and the mounting bracket. And then, like I said, when I was playing with it with the kids had several extra blocks mounted up here with the Lego man, and it still flew pretty decent. You know, you get where you can start to feel the weight on it, but it flies pretty good with carrying the extra weight because it does have those 7mm size motors, and then plus that 30C battery, so it can actually provide the punch it needs. That even when it's loaded down, you can still punch out pretty good. So that's it, and there's some other stuff going on out there with this quad. I've seen some posts online about developers that are modding where you can hack the firmware and stuff. So this little quad is starting to get a pretty good following online because it's a great flyer. It's fast, it's fun, it's very maneuverable out of the box. The remote is decent. It's not the greatest remote, but it works good. I like the fact that they actually gave us little sticks on here. I have a couple of other of these tiny remotes that just have slider pads that I really don't like. But it's powerful. It has good flight time. This is just a really nice little quad. So I'm going to plug the battery in one more time here. And turn on the remote. Bind it. Where's the little man here? And I recommend that when you snap the little man on, don't just press down like this, but hold it with one finger under the battery. That takes the stress off of the frame. And let's go flying. Okay, so starting off here, kind of hover around a little bit. And first thing, crash into the ceiling fan. Ha. The remote does have two rates for flying rates. a low speed and a high speed. Right now I've got it in the low. Let's just kind of give it some, do some like figure eights and clover leaves here, kind of show you how the rates are here. And if I press the button under the throttle, hear the 2 beeps, and that means that it is now in the higher rate mode. Do some more figure eights and clover leaves around the living room here. Whoa! Ran it into the door off frame. And that's something that's kind of nice about these ducted full ducts versus my other indoor flyers. Just have little propeller guards on them, and that helps in crashes. But this duct, the full ducts on here really seem to help this guy with crashes a lot. You can bounce off of stuff pretty good. Right at the beginning of the video, I got tangled up in the ceiling fan, and I was able to get out of there with only a little bit of fuss. So this is kind of some flying here. I'm going to switch to the hat mount camera and go do some room-to-room flying in the back of the house. Let's go see if I can do that a little bit without too much crashing. Okay, so here's a little test that I've been trying to do recently, trying to fly from room to room to room, as just to improve my skills of actually trying to make it through doorways and such. So let's see if I can, how I do today. Kind of show off a little bit of the maneuverability, and for right now I'm in the low rate. Hurry! Show off the ability to bounce off of doors too. Fly around the ceiling fan chains here. Oh, hit the ceiling fan chain. Like the ducts, didn't crash. Oi! And I've been flying about 2 or 3 minutes on this battery already, so I'm not sure exactly how much time I'll have left, but just try to fly around the room and then back out the doorway. Ooh, into the next room. Oh, come on, get out of there. Yay. And this is where the duct flyers really are nice for indoor. You get them all tangled up and it doesn't really seem to matter much. Go into this room. Stay away from the ceiling fan. The higher rates. Oi, a little short getting through that door. A little short on my corner. And there's LVC. So that's it for the E011 block drone from banggood.com. I've been having a lot of fun with this little guy. I've burned a bunch of batteries through it. It's just a lot of fun. It's fairly tough. I mean, you can see from my flying videos, I'm not the greatest pilot in the world. I can get around a room, but I tend to bounce off a lot of stuff. And so, as you can imagine, this guy's had a lot of crashes, and quite a few of them have been fairly violent crashes. And so far, the frame is holding up. It's no cracks or breakages in the frame. I have seen some reports of people breaking the frames, but I mean, for my flying so far, it's held up really nice. And if you do break it, $17, $18, and you get a whole new set with new motors and everything. So this is a very affordable flyer, very good performer. I have taken it even outside a couple of times, and in the high rate mode and flying around the backyard, so long as there's not too much wind, it does really good. And if there is a little bit of wind, it gets a little bit floaty. But it still does pretty good. It's got enough power and enough angle that you can get it around the yard, so long as there's not too much wind. So this is a lot of fun. I like it. My kids like it. I'm going to keep flying it. So from me to y'all, I'll see y'all later. See you next time. Y'all keep having fun.